keys to success here. These are some keys you will need to get publicity. Passion. We've talked about passion a few times. Are you passionate about what you do, that you get excited when you get out of bed to do that thing? Purpose. What is your purpose? I do believe we're all here for a reason. Being your purpose before you go out with your publicity is really crucial.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, let's move on to the exciting part of this evening. This is always my favorite part because I get to sit back, enjoy, and learn a whole lot of stuff. So it's my great pleasure tonight to introduce you to Aldwyn Altuney, who is known as the media queen. 37 years I learned today in the publicity game doing what she does. So she's got a ton of experience behind her, and I know that she's worked with some big names out there, some names that you will be familiar with. And I know that she has helped really blow up people's websites so that people have got publicity and their websites have crashed with all of the traffic coming through to it. So not a great thing is crash, but it's a great problem to have so much traffic coming through that, you're just overloaded. So she's a TV host, she's a speaker, she's a photojournalist. She has had multiple international best-selling books, so she's been very busy as well too. I think she's one of the only people out there in this space that guarantees results in mainstream media. So a pretty bold promise, but she does it and she gets results as well too. One of the things I love about Aldwyn is she's all about good news as well too. So she's got the good news challenge. She's all about getting rid of some of the negativity by just replacing it with a whole lot of good news stories. She's an animal activist and she's been involved in 14 annual charity events, really raising awareness for animals and against animal cruelty and having respect for animals. She's also a comedian, so she performs in a comedy duo called the Fiddly Gigglers. She's an actor, she's a ukulele player, and she lives close to the beach. So if you want to catch her, the best time to catch her is walking along the beach early in the morning there as she gets a breath of fresh air, and you may even see her out in the ocean doing a spot of body surfing as well too. So let's put our hands together and welcome tonight Aldwyn Altuney.
Thank you so much, Nick, for that amazing introduction that I wrote myself. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. And I love your events, Nick. Thank you so much for joining me today. Who's seen me speak before? Just a show of hands. Can we just see? Yep, Francis. Okay, great. Ron. Yes, Ron. Okay. And some of you I can't see. I'd love to see you if you could show yourself on camera. It's always nice to speak to faces rather than names. So I do have a lot to cover today, and I will share my screen because I have heaps to share with you. And it's perfect that you're here tonight. I'm going to time myself because I can chat on this topic all night. So we don't want to do that because we want you to get away at a decent hour. So I'm going to share my screen just to make sure that you can see it. All right, share. Okay, can everyone see this? And we'll have some questions at the end as well. So if you have any questions at all, we'll come to that at the end. All right, free publicity secrets. As Nick said, I do have 37 years media experience. I know that sounds crazy because I look about 25. Thank you very much. I actually started when I was 10. My first time in the media was actually as a table tennis player in Sydney. I was a top junior table tennis player and had the Manly Daily come to our place in North Bargalla at the time, where we had a table and they came and took photos and did an interview. And then I was on Cartoon Connection at age 11, went on and did a radio show at 13 and worked in the media, worked in TV, radio and print media. since then. So it's been a whirlwind career in the media, and I've had my ups and downs in that time as well. So tonight, I'd love you to think now, what would happen to you or your business if you were interviewed on Sunrise Tomorrow, or on morning TV, or a night show on TV? What would happen, do you think, to you or your business? And just feel free to pop in the chat. Or what if the Women's Weekly or GQ, the largest men's magazine in Australia, what if they did an article about you? What do you think might happen to you or your business? Or what if Oprah's office called you and asked if you could be available for a show? What do you think would happen? And yes, your website may blow up, so it's good to have some good tech people on hand, such as Nick, and really have that back end in order. However, you don't have to get publicity. Right now, what happened to Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad? When he appeared on Oprah, it was the 27th of April in 2000, 27th of April 2000, so 21 years ago. It was 3 years after he did Rich Dad Poor Dad. And at the end of the 1 hour show with Oprah, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad, we've just sold you 1 million books." Now, at the time, he was making $5 US per book. So that's $5 million that he made at the end of that 1 hour show. Now, if you have a product out there, and a few of you mentioned products tonight, if you have books, if you have workshops, etc., it's never too late to get yourself out there, okay, and to promote products that you have released in the past. So there is massive opportunity in this area. And particularly now, since a lot of people are doing paid ads and there's such a flood of people in the social media space, there's massive opportunity to really stand out with your message by using the power of free publicity. This is all possible for you. Now, there's nothing extra special about Robert Kiyosaki or about other experts. If you think in your field right now, who is known as the expert right now in your field? And just pop in the chat if you'd like to. Who is known as the expert right now in your field? And I would say that there's a 99% chance here that they have had media coverage where you haven't, right? And if you think about what they're sharing about, is it really anything spectacular that you wouldn't share about? Probably not. In fact, you may have your own unique spin to bring to the conversation. And this is the power of the media, is that you get to stand out in your field and you get to charge more for what you do. You have more influence, credibility, and you will naturally attract more leads and sales as well. We are in unprecedented times at the moment. Content consumption is up 60% now during COVID, and even more so now. It just keeps going up. There's more and more content consumption happening online, which is a positive in some ways, in that if you want to launch a product online, there's great opportunity. However, in another way, there's massive flood of information online. So how do you stand out? And that's what we're going to cover today. Using publicity is a great way to do that. Also, amazingly, currently, out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, there's 3.8 billion active social media users. 3.8. So that's about half the world's population are active social media users. And that's increasing all the time. So this is also a great opportunity for you, because journalists are now looking to social media every single day for story ideas. They're going on there looking for people to interview. They have spots to fill every single day. And by you putting a great social media post out, it may get picked up by a media outlet. And this has happened with actually quite a few of my clients, where they've been picked up by journalists from social media posts. So never underestimate the power of strategic social media posting. Now, 37 years experience I mentioned. I won't talk too much here, but just to give you a background, the strategies I'll share with you today work for any media anywhere in the world. I did do a media degree as well at Canberra University and did TV production, photojournalism. Had my first media training at age 11. I was sponsored by MLC Junior Sports Foundation alongside Joanna Griggs, Jeff Hugel, people like that. And I was the longest serving editor of Curio, which is a university newspaper at Canberra University. And I love the power of the media to be able to share messages about things that either upset me or angered me, or something I wanted to change in the community that I was. I found the power of media amazing as far as leveraging my knowledge and going out to thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people with one message. Do the work once and leverage right across the board. And now that's even more powerful offline media channels have very big social media following, and they have also a huge following on their website. Really got that whole cross mass media coverage. Exciting for you. Great opportunity. I also did my first media training in 2000. I've had repeated calls for more. And I've worked with all sorts of media, magazines, radio. These are just some of the places where I've either had stories or I've had clients appear in some of these outlets. All these here right across Australia and overseas as well. I used to freelance for Jetstar magazine in Singapore, also M magazine in South Africa, and Excel magazine in Singapore too, went out to 25 countries. So it's the same strategies I'll share with you today on how to get publicity. Works right across the board. I've worked with small and large companies too with my business AA Expose Media. And nowadays, I love working with speakers, authors, social entrepreneurs who are out to change the world in some way and who also have a great social conscience and want to give back. I think the more you yourself, the more you'll be able to help those around you. And I think this is really important day and age, because while there's been a whole lot of crap that's happened in the last year with COVID and things we cannot control, we can control how we're going to be about it and what we're going to do now. And while some businesses have gone down the tubes in the last year, others have absolutely. And in fact, Zoom is just one of those platforms that tripled its revenue in March last year. So, massive opportunity now to actually reinvent yourself and do things differently, and maybe do some of the things you did before but haven't done. I'd say right now is a perfect time for you. I've also interviewed a whole lot of celebrities. These are some of them here. And there's certain things that all these people have in common. Now, one is that they were once upon a time the world's best kept secret. Now, right now, you may feel like the world's best kept secret, and that's okay because we all start somewhere, right? The other thing they all have in common is they're passionate about what they do. And really, when you look at what you do, are you really passionate about what you do? So that if money wasn't an issue, would you still do what you do and be excited about it? I think this is really crucial, because nowadays a third of people die by the age of 65. And that goes pretty damn fast, right? So you want to make sure, ideally, that you are living your passion and doing what you love. And I believe that if you do that, the money will come. The other thing they all have in common, someone said they all take cocaine once at one of my events. I don't know about their drug habits. However, I do know that they all have someone else representing them to the media. And it does look better generally if you have someone else representing you to the media and saying you're fantastic rather than you doing it. And a lot of people are shy about that too. They don't like to talk themselves up, and they have a lot of confidence issues that can come up when it comes to media, and that's very common as well. And the other thing they all have in common, and all celebrities, they have had to toughen themselves to criticism. And if you're going to put yourself out there, you need to do that. You need to toughen yourself up, stand in your truth and speak your truth. Be prepared to speak up for what you believe in, no matter what anyone says. And you will be challenged. And they say, if you don't have trolls out there right now on social media or people putting you down, then you're not playing a big enough game, right? So just expect you're going to have people that are going to not like what you say, and then you're going to have others that are going to love what you say. So you'll find that more and more. Nowadays, I host Media Queen TV on YouTube, very passionate about sharing more inspiring news in the world, lifting the energy on the planet. I've personally had depression. I've had 4 friends take their own lives by the age of 45. And I do believe that the media that we put out there makes a huge difference in our mental health, in the mental health of people in general. And we've actually seen more suicides now since COVID. So I think now more than ever, it's our duty, I believe, to share more positivity, more gratitude, more good news, because things can always be worse, right? No matter how bad you think the situation is right now, things can always be worse. And so coming to gratitude as much as possible will really help attract better opportunities for you, and it will help you attract more media opportunities too, because you're lifting your vibration, lifting your energy, and that does draw people in. I've also co-hosted Tech Webcast over the last few years, and that podcast has had over 1 million downloads in 8 years. So massive opportunity also to start your own podcast, your own online TV shows now, as a lot of people are doing. In fact, just in America alone, 1 million podcasts just in America alone. So what are you passionate about? For me, it's good news and it's inspiring action for animals. And I've created events around this, which is one way you can get publicity. You can actually create an event around something you are passionate about. Now, you don't have to create an event. You could align with a cause that's already doing what you're passionate about. Okay. So for example, I had one client that raised funds for Beyond Blue. You know, they were passionate about helping to overcome depression, or there's things like Are You Okay Day, or you know, what is it for you? What are you passionate about? And is there a cause you currently support? Feel free to pop in the chat here on Zoom or on Facebook watching this. What are you passionate about? So in line with the good news work that I do, I started a global good news day on the 8th of the 8th, 18, after my fourth friend suicided. And I thought I just want to share more good news out there and lift the energy on the planet. And so I started this good news day, 8th of the 8th, 18. It was also celebrating my, because she was born on the 8th of the 8th, 08. And then I started during COVID, the Global Good News Challenge. And that's a monthly Facebook Live challenge where people share their name, what they do, 3 things they're grateful for, and a piece of good news on a Facebook Live. And a lot of clients and people have actually been getting new clients out of that from doing the Global Good News Challenge by sharing gratitude and then sharing their good news about what they're up to in their business, or some good news maybe they've seen on an online network such as Good News Network, Sunny Skies News. There's even news.com.au now has a good news section. There's so much good news out there when you look for it, right? We just don't see a lot of it in the mainstream news, but there actually is a hell of a lot out there. And particularly now, there's been a big trend for more positive news because people are sick of the negative news, aren't they? And you're probably thinking right now, I don't watch the news because it's so negative. A lot of people say that, and people that I hang out with say that kind of stuff, right? So it's important to be objective when you see the news and question everything, because I can tell you, as someone who's been a journalist for a long time, there are hidden agendas with the media, and we're not getting the whole truth and nothing but the truth in general when we see news. Okay, so do your own research with everything. Now, with the animal action work I do, for years I've seen animal cruelty and wanted to do something about it. And so I set up the world's first Animal Action Day in 2007, and that was to raise awareness, appreciation, and respect for animals. Every single year I've aligned with a different charity. We've done 14 annual events now in line with that. There is a lot of work though to do your own events, not so much work now doing online events. However, offline events, you know, we had 30 performers and speakers. It was a massive job putting that together every year. However, you know, this is an option for you. You can create your own event or align with something where you're actually giving back to a cause. And in fact, I've just aligned also with B1G1, which is every time someone buys something from me, I give back in some way. And I think that's a great thing to take on in your business. Now, there's a journey people go on when they go to look for publicity. Now, if they start out with being the world's best kept secret, this might be you right now. You might feel like you're the world's best kept secret. And then they make a start. You come to something like this, or you take some action in some way. You say, right, I'm ready now to get out there. And 50% of anything is just starting. So I acknowledge you for that if you are at this point. And then the next thing is, once you make a start and you learn how to get publicity, then you start to make some steady progress. You get some runs on the board, start to get some local media. Now, the good news for you is that media feed off other media. So if it's a good enough story, often other media outlets are scoping the news, looking for story ideas. And in fact, for a long time when I was working as a print journalist, I would have some of the stories we put out, you know, major TV outlets would call us saying, have you got the contact details for that person? We want to also cover that story. So this happens a lot where journalists are stuck for story ideas and they are looking for content. So they will look at other media to see what they've covered. And then you might think, right, I want to shoot for the stars now. I want to go for some major media, a huge podcast, or go for national TV, shoot for the stars, start to get a few runs on the board. And before you know it, you are a star. So that's my rocket ship model and the journey to get publicity. And it is a journey, and it's important to be patient on this journey with yourself. Like anything, you know, it takes they say it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success, right? Well, that may be the case, or you might just get 1 or 2 media spots and suddenly you're a star. And you don't need to take your clothes off or smuggle drugs from Bali to do this, right? You don't need to do that. Or it's amazing what's happening on this Instagram at the moment with the OnlyFans, with people flashing their bums and boobs and getting millions of followers. I don't suggest you do that unless you're in the sex industry, of course. Anyway, keys to success here. These are some keys you will need to get publicity. Passion. We've talked about passion a few times. Are you passionate about what you do, that you get excited when you get out of bed to do that thing? Purpose. What is your purpose? I do believe we're all here for a reason. Being your purpose before you go out with your publicity is really crucial. Package. How you package that up in a way that journalists are going to like that is crucial as well. And with the package, there's 3 areas here. There's a press release you will need some good visuals, and you will need to pitch it effectively. And with journalists, you only have about 45 seconds to get your pitch across. They are incredibly busy people. They speak very fast, and hopefully you're catching everything I'm saying right now, because this is how journalists speak. They are on deadline. They are go, go, go. And there's certain times a day to pitch to them as well. Generally, do not do it in the afternoon because they're busy on deadline, right? So pitch in the morning when you're pitching to most media, unless they're on air, of course, with radio. So package is crucial, and journalists can tell if you know what you're doing when it comes to pitching. And if you burn those bridges, it's very hard to then regain confidence with that journalist. However, if you do the right thing when you're going out to media, the journalists will love you and they will seek you out for comment next time they're looking for an expert in that field. So everything's hard until it becomes easy, right? So work with experts in this. Recommend so that you fast track your success. Like anything, you either pay with dollars or you pay with time, right, to have fast track to success. Profile. Now, journalists are going to Google you. Okay, so are you Google-licious, as they say? What happens when people Google you? Do you have some clear branding? Do you have consistent messaging right across your social media and on your websites? And some of you may be thinking, oh gosh, don't Google me, right? But, there's something to look at. And I do suggest actually Google yourself and have a look at what's out there, because, first impressions do count. And also have video content out there, because particularly TV crews now, they're looking for people who come across well on camera, right? Now, if you don't come across well on camera in your interviews, you're going to get a shorter run. If you may actually get cut out altogether, right? So you've only got, most TV interviews, 3 to 5 minutes to get your message across. News stories are 30 seconds to a minute. So to get those good grabs is really crucial. People, knowing the right people. Everything is built on relationships. And there's a process to getting publicity. And once you get publicity, it's important then to maximize that and propel that right across the board. Okay, so they're the keys to success. Now, I have an awesome media magic formula. It is in the shape of a wand, and I have my media magic wand right here. Here it is. Now, the A, this is the acronym awesome. The A stands for articulate your story. Now, your X factor is your story. Okay, massive opportunity out there, if no one knows about you just yet, to share your story. And I know there's many areas of your story you could share. I'll give you some examples today. The W is work the angles of your story. E is elevate profile. Now, Nick did a great Facebook Live earlier today, and he talked about a few angles that were very popular that featured on TV. You might want to go back and watch that at some point. Angles are crucial. Elevate your profile, package up what you do effectively in a way that journalists will like it. Startle the media is fantastic too. And Richard, the PR stunt king, has done some awesome things, such as dressed in a wedding dress to launch the Virgin Brides venture. Own your power. This is crucial too for your interviews, to stand in your truth and own your power, to have that confidence oozing out of you and speaking your truth in such a way that you become magnetic on camera and you draw people into your business and into your message and what you do. And then M is master interviews. So you really do need to own your power and have all these steps in place before you can master interviews. And there's certain things to do before, during, and after interviews, which I don't have time to go into now, but I do cover it in my masterclass, which I'll be mentioning later. And then explode impact, then maximizing that media you get. Now, you only have to feature on TV once to say as seen on TV. Okay, so you can use that and leverage if you've been in the media before. And I'd love to know, have you featured in the media before? And if so, which media? Just pop into the chat. If you featured in the media, which media outlets? Because you can use those logos for your marketing to explode your impact. There's just one way that you can make the most of that. And once you do all these things, you will build your fame, you will build your fortune, you'll attract more money for yourself, and you will have more freedom. And this is my favorite thing, you also leave a legacy with every single media spot you get. You are leaving a legacy. And I love this because, you know, too many people die with the music in them. There's too many people out there that have amazing messages to share. And the next thing you know, they could be gone, right? And we don't like to think about these things. You know, we all hope that we'll live long lives, etc. But anything can happen at any moment. And so it's important to seize the moment. If you are feeling like putting yourself out there, like now's the time, well, seize the moment and do it, because there's no time like the present. And most likely, if you don't do something about it now, then another year will go by or another 5 years will go by and you'll think, gosh, what happened? And I'm still in the same place. And right. So if you want a different result, as they say, do something different, take some different actions. Now, there's 3 steps to publicity. I'm going to break this right down today and talk about the 3 main steps. So first, there's your product. What is it that you want to promote? Okay, now, and when we think about your product, it could be something you do, or it could be something that you create. Okay, so a lot of my clients also, they create webinar series, or they, you know, they may not have an existing product, but they create a product to get publicity. Having something with a date on it to promote to media is crucial. And that is a big secret, because otherwise your stories will get put on hold potentially again and again and again if you with a date to promote to media. You need to create this sense of urgency. So what is your awesome? And what is it when you're sharing your product or your story with people? Wow. Now, just looking at the cost of advertising just in Australia alone is insane. Massive amounts people are spending on advertising, 25 grand for ads during high rating shows for just a 30-second spot, 60-second spot on radio, $5, magazines, full color page is $4, et cetera, et cetera. Just massive. And then digital advertising, you know, people spending crazy amounts on digital advertising on Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube, et cetera. That also is not working. And so people are getting really frustrated out there. And this might be you, with all the money you've spent on advertising and not getting results. Has that been you? Have you wasted money on advertising? Well, why free publicity? Well, it's worth 3 to 8 times more than advertising. There's several online sites that say this. It builds credibility, trust, celebrity status, which to help you stand out online for reputation management, it's crucial. You can also target your message to your ideal clients, which is brilliant as well. So you can really maximize your time in gaining media, because literally there are hundreds of thousands of media outlets out there. So, you know, targeting your message to your ideal clients, to the media that they consume, is huge as well. And then you'll increase your traffic, leads, and sales that will naturally come with it as well. Incredibly powerful. Also, stories versus ads are viewed 22 times more. So you've got 22 times more eyeballs on stories versus the ads. And if you think about how you consume ads, often you switch off when an ad comes on. Nick was talking about this today as well. People switch off. You switch off when ads come up on the radio or on TV. And so you really want to be getting in the stories where people are actually paying attention, and you get so much more value from it. Now, the media needs your story every single day. They need ideas for new stories. So the opportunity is absolutely huge. And now, as more people are going online with their stories, there's a bigger gap now also that needs filling, and they're really busy. Journalists are flat out. There's a 5-year burnout with journalists. And so help them out. If you help them out, they're going to love you and they will keep coming back to you. So looking at your product, what product or service do you want to promote or sell? Now, it's crucial that you look for the story behind the story. If it's too commercial, they're going to say, take out an ad. Okay, so you need to look at what is your product or service you want to promote and what's the story behind that, or help people, right? What's your story? For example, Stephen S. is a guy. We looked at several PR options for him in a media consultation. He had other PR people he'd worked with that gained him no PR. We sat down, went through his story, and we found 3 different angles for him. He was doing a free event across Australia and New Zealand to help offline businesses go online. And was that 5 years previously, he'd been a panel beater in the western suburbs of Sydney, fairly broke, and now he's a multimillionaire 5 years on. How did he do it? And then the third angle for him is he created some technology to help automate webinars. So now we had a tech angle as well. So often, you know, there'll be several angles when you brainstorm, how often we are too close to see what the angles of our story are. And media can be overwhelming. I totally get it. Sometimes like this little Tweety bird on the right, you're going, what the fudge is all this about, right? With all the language on social media, etc. Well, the beauty is targeting your story to media outlets on TV, radio, print, and online podcasts, etc. It's important to speak as if you're speaking to a 14-year-old. So keep your messaging very, very simple. Take the tech jargon out of it. And I'm sure you can do that, right? I'm sure you can keep your messaging simple. Ask a 14-year-old if they understand, right? That's one way to just check in with your kids or grandkids, maybe for some of you. Okay, packaging it up, press release. Now, you can get publicity without a press release. However, you increase the chances that the journalists will get the facts wrong. And they do get facts wrong all the time, right? So you want to make their job easy for them, do a well-written press release, and they will love you. And often they will just copy and paste the press release straight in. Photos or visuals. Now, even radio crews nowadays, they want good visuals, okay? And you'll see radio journalists going out with their camera because they're putting the photos up on their social media and up on their website. So always think about good visuals. And then pitch. Have a really succinct, straight to the point pitch. You don't want to waste journalists' time or they're going to find you very annoying, okay? So be snappy, to the point. And then target your message to the right media. This is crucial. And here's some campaign idea joggers for you. You can have a unique solution around something that you do. Have you won any awards? This is another great place to look. Or is there some awards you can apply for? Controversy. I love controversy, and the media love it too. They love to do stories about things that get people talking. Now, if I just mention the word vaccinations, for example, now that's controversial right now, right? 5G is another very controversial topic. And the media love to report on controversial issues that get people talking. And you will have a strong opinion, I'm sure, if you've researched either of these things, about whether you're pro or anti or what your opinions are on that, right? So what's controversial in your industry? What are some new statistics currently in your industry as well? The media love new stats. Current commentary. What is in the news right now that you can piggyback off? Okay, that's called piggyback media. You could be the underdog and help someone who is, needs help, someone who is less fortunate than you are. Be the underdog and help out where needed. You could have a hero angle, and that doesn't mean having, going from broke to multimillionaire. It could be just how you've overcome some challenge, okay? It could be a health challenge. It could be anything. It could be overcoming divorce. It could be all sorts of things. So what is your hero angle? How have you overcome some hardship? And I'm sure if you're a human being, you've had some hardship, because that's how the roller coaster of life goes, right? Celebrity angle is another thing that you can look at. And you can look at aligning with charities that have celebrities or getting a celebrity to support your cause. And then pick opportunity. Having good visuals is crucial too. You can have an average story, but if you have good visuals, the media are going to love you for it. So this is an example of the start of a press release I did for Dean Vegas, who was voted the world's best Elvis impersonator. And these are some visuals that go with the press release. Okay, you need photos that are relevant to your press release. So here we've got Elvis looking Dean at the bottom, and we've got the corporate Dean at the top. So Dean was running for mayor of the Gold Coast, and he's basically, this press release is saying that if he made it in as mayor, he would stop performing as Elvis, right? Now, while he had a packed event, there was heaps of TV crew, radio, journalists, there were print media, massive event, and he did really well with his campaign, but he didn't actually make it in to become mayor, unfortunately. However, he has been booked solid as Elvis ever since. So there's no such thing as bad publicity, as they say. And he was able to share what he wanted for the city, right? He was able to have his voice be heard on that. So that's one example there, straight to the point. Now, during COVID, massive opportunity to get media right now. This is Dr. Mia Jandua that I worked with during COVID, and we put out a press release saying fear of COVID is making people sick. And this story appeared in the Gold Coast Bulletin, virus anxiety making us sick. And so we turned this negative into a positive. And then this story goes on to talk about simple measures to help protect immunity, like breathing deeply, avoiding refined sugar, drinking plenty of water, eating fresh fruit and vegetables, just simple messages. However, these things can really help shift lives, right? Simple things in life are often the best. So, the journalists love that, because they say, oh, thank goodness, a positive story, right? There's so much negativity out there. And then this was on Channel 7 before social distancing came out. We made sure we got these photos, and I recommend you do the same when you appear on TV. This is on Channel 9. We got this photo here, and this was now social distancing had come into place. And this is Teresa Todd. Actually, this is another client of mine who's a naturopath, and she did some free courses online to help mothers working from home that were also homeschooling kids in line with Mother's Day. And so this had a whole lot of media as well. Channel 7, she was one of my mass media mastery clients, actually. I made sure we got this photo, and also on Juice FM. Now, at the time, there was no radio interviews happening in the studio during one part of COVID here on the Gold Coast. And so I recommended to Teresa to get a photo at the front of the Juice FM studio so that she could maximize that for her marketing and, you know, put that online and tag the media outlets, etc. Lots you can do to leverage once you get your coverage. This is Hans Jacoby, who was on Channel 7, Channel 9, Triple M, ABC Radio, Northwest Star. We worked together, thanks to Nick actually introducing me to Hans. And Hans actually came out of retirement after 11 years and did a bounce back to freedom tour from Bundaberg up to Darwin. And what he was doing was interviewing people about how they're going to bounce back to freedom after COVID or during COVID. What are they doing to get their businesses back on track? And when I asked Hans, why are you doing this? Why are you coming out of self-funded retirement? You don't need to be doing this. Why are you doing it? And he said, apart from inspiring businesses, he said, I wanted to inspire my granddaughter, because he said, your kids and your grandkids will learn more from what you do than what you say. I thought that was really beautiful. Example of Hans getting some amazing coverage there. Now, the second step to publicity is the platform. Which platform are you going to go out to? So you've got TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, you've got podcasts, online TV shows, lots of people looking for people to interview right now. And the opportunity is massive. In traditional TV, massive, massive opportunity, literally hundreds of thousands of media outlets, more podcasts, as I said, just in America alone, huge opportunity now to get yourself out, and 1,600 magazines just in Australia alone. So no matter what topic, what industry you're in, there will be a journalist right now looking for your story or looking for someone in your industry who can comment about whatever it is you're doing, right? And they're looking for these new angles and looking for more stories to share. So it's about getting the right message to the right person, and it's journalists, it's the right person at the right media outlet and at the right time. And timing is really crucial as well. And that will lead to love, it'll lead to lots of love, and it'll lead to money as well for you, right? Right message to the right person at the right time is crucial. And then make sure you capture that coverage. As I mentioned, when you get on TV, this is me being interviewed for different animal action events that I did. This is with Tyson Cottrell from Channel 9 on the left here. And I was talking about an animal action event at that one. On the right here, this is in the ABC radio studio with Herb Armstrong, who's the grandson of Louis Armstrong, who performed at one of our animal action events. Newspapers, colourful visuals. See, this one we did a fundraiser for the Animal Welfare League, and see, we've got the rainbow hat on there. We've got animals that represent what's going on. We had Elvis, we had Dean Vegas was actually performing at that event, and we had a clown there. So really nice, colourful visual. And we've had multiple front page stories with different animal action events that we've done in the past. And then considering where you want to go and where your ideal clients are, where you want to target, then you can target certain media. So for example, this is Business Acumen magazine that now Tracy Corman here runs Two's company. She wanted to target more business people. And so we put a press release, put a story out saying, Two's company warns singles to be careful. So that's her business name, Two's company, warns singles to be careful of shonky dating agencies. And so that's the main angle we used. And then we went on in the story to talk about how many members she has Australia-wide, all the charities she supported, and then a lovely link to her website at the end of the story as well. So lovely half-page spread. If she paid for ads, would have been $2,000. Publicity value, we said, is valued 3 to 8 times more than ads. So we'll just times it by 5 for the purposes of today. And that's $10,000 worth of free PR there. Fantastic story. And forever now in her marketing, she can say, as seen in Business Acumen magazine, and use that logo. This is Alan Coulton here, who runs Root Barrier in Brisbane. It's a company called Root Barrier. And when Alan came to me, he said, now root barriers are these massive plastic barriers you put around a house that stops the tree roots from coming under the house and cracking the foundation of the house. So we put an angle out to say root barriers save trees and protect buildings. So we looked at the community angle. How does what he does help the wider community? Now, if he went to the media and said, I've got this plastic barrier I want to promote, they would have said, just take out an ad. And so how you strategically, come up with an angle and having good photos to go with it. This is a photo I took of him in Brisbane with some of his plans for Root Barrier. And what happened with this is we ended up with a 4-page spread in Australian Horticulture magazine to his ideal clients. And if he paid for ads at $16,000, he would have paid there. The publicity value times it by 5. That is $80,000 worth of free publicity. Plus, he got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of new business from his ideal clients because he targeted with the shotgun approach, targeted Australian Horticulture magazine where his clients were. Now, the scattergun approach is where you do a press release and get it out to thousands of outlets at the same time. So shotgun approach is very effective. Now, the third step to publicity is profit. We all like some money, don't we? Although it's not all about money. Money definitely helps to make a bigger difference in the world, and it helps with the choices that we make. So how to profit from that PR. So make sure you capture the visuals that you get. If you're putting this in social media, tag the journalist, tag the outlet. You're reaching millions of people just by doing that. And there's other ways to make money too. And you just never know sometimes where that's going to come from with the media. Now, just one story in the local paper led to a $200,000 funding offer for this guy here, Pete Turner. He was doing a film called 72 Hours. And what happened here is with a celebrity angle, fantastic positive story went into the Gold Coast Bulletin. And within 1 to 2 days, somebody saw that story that offered him $200,000 funding for his film. And this is the actual story that went in the Gold Coast Bulletin. Soap star awash with enthusiasm for Coast Crime Drama Dream. And it wasn't even a big celebrity. This is a guy called Silvio Offria, who is a home and away star from Sydney who just happened to be on the Gold Coast. Lovely, positive story. So you just never know where the money will come for you once you get your coverage. This is a relationships and intimacy coach called Claire Flynn based on the Gold Coast. And she put a story out in Newland magazine, and it's called Booming Business Story here. And this one is about happy relationships lead to successful businesses. And this lovely 2-page spread here giving great advice on that actually led to someone seeing that in Sydney who asked her to speak at an event in front of 450 of her ideal clients. This led to more inquiries and leads on a website, 100% increase in people booking her services. And she went from making $1,000 a week to $2,000 a week in her business. So 100% increase in business just from one magazine article. And there's literally, as I say, hundreds of thousands of opportunities for you out there to get publicity. And if you want to take on a big cause like Paul Herman did here, now he's a property investor, he was fighting bank fraud. And with the power of the media, he was able to take on the banks with what he was doing because he found that the banks fraudulently altered his loan documents, and he went on a current affair, Gold Coast Bulletin, ABC, 2GB. He had hundreds of thousands of dollars of free publicity and was able to renegotiate with the banks also for his loans from this. And he did some great publicity stunts too, like arresting the bank for fraud. He did some amazing media stunts to startle the media too. This is Aussie Mega Mall. They're an online stores platform, and they had a 10-fold increase in business for a purely online business. They went from 2016, they had 875,000 products in 3,500 stores. And this year, they've actually got 8 million plus products now, 32,000 plus stores. We worked together. We had over 40 media spots in just 1 month, and they just went insane. Steve and Esther appeared on TV, and the publicity value of just a 6-minute interview on Sky News Business TV, that publicity was worth $1.5 million in free publicity. And that's someone who was voted world's best public speaker at the World Internet Summit, but very, very nervous about being on TV. And we did some work together one-on-one, and he just blitzed it. We were told he had 3 to 5 minutes for this interview, and he blitzed it with a 6-minute interview. He was extraordinary with this. So make sure you get the clippings, put these on your website, social media sites, celebrate and watch how your credibility and cash flow grows. Now, there's a whole lot of PR distribution sites I don't have time to go into right now, but some of these charge per email, some of them charge for media contact lists. So, have a look at these at your leisure, or other ones. There's plenty out there. And with a lot of these, a lot of people do the scattergun approach. They'll get their press release out to thousands of people through some of these contacts. However, what happens with these is often the contacts aren't up to date. And often a lot of the contacts here, they get bombarded. The ones that are up to date get bombarded with press releases. And so it's really hard to get through to the right people using these kind of platforms. Source Bottle, Nick mentioned that tonight. Source Bottle is a fantastic way to get free publicity, and just browse the free publicity opportunities there, and plenty of opportunities. Make sure you do it in a timely fashion or you'll miss out on the opportunity there. Now, this is Michelle Patterson. She's a women's empowerment coach I worked with, and we put out a press release saying Coach empowers women who underwent forced adoptions. We tied it in with National Adoption Awareness Week. We had a date on it. And, I thought this was a pretty good press release. We had some stats here on forced adoptions back in the 50s to 90s, etc. Now, we had a little bit of interest in that. However, we just tweaked it just slightly to this one here, this press release. Mother opens up on secret forced adoption after 30 years. And what happened here, as her media representative, I got bombarded with requests for this story. And I ended up negotiating with Women's Day magazine. They paid thousands of dollars for this story. And this is what happened. These are behind the scenes photos of Michelle Patterson in her unit in Labrador. And they sent a hair and makeup person to her unit. They sent a photographer up from Sydney to the Gold Coast to take photos of Michelle. And Women's Day exclusive, of course, all of these photos were embargoed until the actual event, until it came out so obviously you've got to respect exclusives, and you can't do anything on social media until it comes out. So we had to wait for that. However, I do recommend get these kind of photos when you are getting your publicity, and always get a photo with the photographer and with, anyone who works from that media organization to build those relationships, okay, and tag those people when you do then share it on social media. And this is the 2-page spread that went out in Women's Day magazine, full 2 pages. Now, if she paid for ads, that would have been $60,000. Publicity value, 300,000 times 5, 1.6 million readers of Women's Day magazine. It was also featured on the front cover as well. And the beauty of this is that her website was actually at the end of the second paragraph of the second column, was her business website. So even though you're sharing your story, you'll also be able to promote your business from it as well. This is Sheila Mack. She's based in LA. She joined my Mass Media Mastery program. She gained over 50 media appearances in 1 month after joining the program. And she now has her own show, NBC's a.k.a. Radio, and on-demand TV, gets reshaped on other platforms and podcast channels. And she goes out to more than 2 million viewers now, which is extraordinary. And Sheila is awesome. And she often interviews my other clients as well. This is Kurik Ashley. This is a zero to hero story. Kurik always wanted to be on Oprah. And this story actually got held over in Excel magazine from 1 month to the next month. And would you believe that Oprah was on the cover of the magazine? So fantastic coverage for Kurik, publicity value $80,000, but really the celebrity value of being in the same media as Oprah, what is that worth? Massive, right? Now, how would your life be different if you were seen as the go-to person in your niche? Just pop into the chat there. How would your life be different if you were seen as the go-to person in your niche? Now, the beauty is if you're not the top expert right now in your field, journalists often have several experts, okay? Because if they can't reach the Anthony Robbins or Michelle Bridges of the world, they will go for the second person on the list or third person on their list. And often local media will search for local experts, okay? So massive opportunity there if you're not the biggest go-to person in your niche. But just imagine if you were known as a go-to person, if media were contacting you for comment, what would that be like for you? Do you really want to create a change in your life? Because, getting publicity is not for the faint-hearted, okay? It requires stepping up, and it requires being ready to take your life to another level. Also, do you want to charge more for your products and services? Is that you? Just pop a yes into the chat. Is that you? Do you want to charge more for what you do? Do you want celebrity status as an expert in your field? And do you want to make a bigger difference in the world? Just pop a yes in the chat if that's you. Do you want time and life freedom? Who wants some time and life freedom? Just pop yes into the chat if that's you. And if you want to fast track your success, then free publicity is definitely the answer. And as it says here, John Maxwell quote, successful leaders have the courage to make action while others hesitate. So take action. Whatever you do, take action on something you've learned today. And the fact is, look, you're not getting any younger. I hate to break the news to you. Unless you're on some amazing anti-aging products, generally speaking, you're not getting any younger. So there's no time like the present to get yourself out there and get the right guidance to do this. Now, I do have a free publicity secrets mastermind coming up on Zoom. It's going to be on Wednesday, June 23 from 9 to 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It is $97 to attend, and we have some tickets to give away tonight for those who've joined us on the Zoom. And thank you for staying with us. And here's the details here. If you go to freeprsecrets.com, you'll see all the details about that masterclass. And there is just so much that I cover in that. I've squashed as much as I can into 45 minutes today, and there's even more. I go into so much more detail in the masterclass. So that's going to be amazing, coming up on June 23. Also, this Thursday, I have a Mass Media Tribe meetup, which is a free event that you can attend. Making your story unforgettable is the topic. We have a guest speaker from San Diego, Brenda Edelman, who's going to be speaking, and she helps people do one-person shows in LA, and she's extraordinary. You'll absolutely love this. It's another great way you can promote yourself for free, is come along, share what you do, and also there'll be prizes at the end of this as well. That will be on Zoom, and you can find out more at the Mass Media Tribe group on Facebook and also on Meetup to find out more about that. And then we have the Global Good News Challenge, which I started, and the next challenge is coming up on June 7. You can start your challenge anytime between June 7 and 13. And all details on that are pinned to the top of the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. You will feel amazing when you share gratitude and good news, and so will the people watching your Facebook lives. And make sure you hashtag Global Good News Challenge if you do one. And we will also put you into the Global Good News Challenge group, and we will share your Good News Challenge as well onto the Global Good News Challenge page. All right, so just check out that post. The world is your oyster. So much is possible for you. This is my last slide. And I want you to get that. I believe in the power of one, and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. Thank you so much. Nick, we can come to questions now. Stop the share. That's my presentation for tonight. Who has some questions? I'm going to look at the chat now.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, if you've got a question, feel free to unmute and ask away, or drop it into chat, and we'll have a look there.
So we've got awesome. Thank you from Selena. I saw Peter clapping, I think there. Were you clapping there, Peter? You were. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got a question for Aldwyn.
Yes, Ron.
Excuse me. One of the things, I did get a call from Channel 9 one day to get some information about anxiety, you know, particularly with separation anxiety and the COVID relationship. And I thought that was a wonderful opportunity, but they were in Brisbane. So I raced up to Brisbane to do the interview and in the gardens. But one of the things that I noticed during the interview, they wanted to have a dog there, and they just pulled one out of the park, somebody walking past. And I felt the interview got out of control a bit, because they were more interested in the dog and testing our pet tunes on the dog rather than talking to me. So my actual interview time got cut down really short. How can you go about controlling that?
Oh, that's a great question, Ron. The fact is you have no control over that, right? Journalists will do what journalists do, and they want the good visuals, okay? So the fact that they got carried away with the dog, that is totally normal, because what you can do to increase your chances of getting more coverage is you can come across really well in your interviews, and you can provide your own great visuals for the camera. So for example, if you went along with your own dog, that maybe a cute little dog that you had in your hands, then you would be in the shot with the dog, possibly, right? As an example. So take your own props along wherever you can. Okay. But as far as what happens with the end product, that's in the lap of the gods. We can never control that. You know, if you're doing ads, you can control exactly how the ad comes across, but then people don't see the ads often. So you're just wasting your money, right? But when it comes to being on TV, you want to think about how can you make this a really visually exciting opportunity for the media. So often, particularly with TV, I will think about how can we make this creative. So for example, the International Women's Day Festival was celebrating the 25th year anniversary. We had TV crews cover that. And so we had balloons, we had a big 25 written in balloons. You know, I mean, it can be something just simple like that, making it visually colorful and exciting. How can you do that where you're more in control of the props than, say, some passerby, for example, right? That's something you could have done possibly to increase your coverage. You could have also had some strategic branding on your T-shirt, right? And Anita Roddick was great at this with the Body Shop. So that's another way you can strategically get some more media. And the biggest thing, though, is to really come across with passion and be really good interview talent. Because if you're boring on that interview, or if you waffle too much, then they're not going to be able to use much of that because they just want those succinct grabs. So that's my best answer for that.
We did talk a bit recording it, but when the final cut came, it was really short.
Yes. And that's what happens. That's what happens because also, you know, journalists, especially if it's news, they only have about a minute to get the message across. So they might interview you for 5 minutes, but they're just going to grab the best bit out of that and put it in there. So, you know, there's nothing you can do about that because that's the journalists will pick the best grabs and the best visuals for that piece. So the better you come across, the more that you have control over those visuals, the more you can get publicity for yourself.
The effect of the screening was absolutely quite impressive, really, because I had all my friends ringing me up saying, you're going to be on TV. And it only took, I would say, not even a minute after that episode that my computer started dinging off with sales.
Oh, well, there you go. That's fantastic. And that's the thing, Ron, is, you know, really it's important when you're getting your publicity. It's a great point you mentioned because it's important. The fact is you've actually been on TV. It doesn't matter that you're on for a minute or 5 minutes or half an hour. The fact that you've been on TV, that you've had that coverage is incredibly powerful. And so I always recommend be grateful for whatever coverage you get. And if the journalist makes errors with what they're reporting, then make sure you let them know so that they can put a retraction in, or they can, because they do often make errors too. So the sooner you get onto that, the better. Like with newspapers, we used to put retraction notices in and say we made an error and this is the correct information. So get onto that quickly. And then also share that content. So when you came out on TV, they would have shared that. I'd say Channel 9 would have shared that on Facebook or on their website. So then make sure you share that as quick as possible. Let people know before the interview that you're going to be on media, if you know when you're going to be on air, and then share it as soon as it comes out on air, share it across your social media and on your websites as well.
One last question. What's the protocol to using their logo on your website? You know,
protocol, that's a good question. Well, I always, look, it's nice to check with them. However, I always use it without, you know, I mean, I've never bothered checking generally. I do check when it comes to things like using TV footage, like TV footage. If you're using that in a commercial way, you generally have to pay for that. But usually what I find, most media outlets are quite happy for you to promote them and share their stuff. And if their logos are generally out on the websites anyway, if you Google a media outlet, you'll find the logo up on Google, right? So as long as you attribute it to them and you let them know that you're using it, I don't think it's an issue. I've never had a problem with it. I've done flyers where I've put logos for animal action events. I've put up to 20 media logos on there. And, you know, I just tag the media outlets and I thank them when I'm sharing it online. I thank them for the coverage and I've never had an issue with it.
Oh, okay. Thanks very much. That's great.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Excellent.
Any last questions there before we go to the prize draw?
Sure, I have a question. So you said you deal with authors. Now, myself included, a lot of authors I know, we're pretty shy. We don't like to put ourselves out there. So I agree with you with your comment that you made earlier about the fact that get someone to do it for you. But if you're talking about putting someone on podcasts or putting them on TV and things like that, how do you go around preparing your authors for that sort of journey? Is that something that you do? Is that part of the author, or?
Yes, great question as well, Selena. Well, the first place I start with my clients is I do a media consultation, and that can go for up to a few hours. And we really deep dive into people's stories and into potential angles for media. And when we're looking at the angles, we need to look at what are their goals? What is it that they want to achieve through their business? And what is their main priority? And for a lot of people, it's often to bring some more cash in the door, right? So they focus on, they want to promote their product to make more sales. And so we look at an angle around that. And so often in that media consultation, I'll come up with up to 3 angles for that author or for that speaker, for whoever it is. We'll come up with a few angles, and then we look at the main angle and we put together a press release that is newsworthy, in a newsworthy format. And then I either coach them to get it out, or if I'm actually doing the PR for them, then I'll actually get it out for them. So depending on people's budget, I have my mass media mastery program where I train people in doing this. And I have also done for you service. If those have a bigger budget who can, who can afford to take me on to just do it all for them, then there's that option too. A lot of my clients, though, in the Mass Media Mastery program, those that have been keen to get themselves out there, I just hold their hand until they get publicity. It's guaranteed publicity with both of those products that I have. And so it really is worth, it's worth investing the time. And if you can get to the masterclass, you'll learn heaps of that as well. So
great. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena.
Excellent. All right. Well, look, there's probably heaps more questions there that people could ask. But as Aldwyn said, she has got the masterclass coming up. Just give us those details again, Aldwyn.
Yes, it's freeprssecrets.com. So I'll put that link into the chat there for you.
Yeah, it's already in chat. So.
Oh, it's in chat. Okay, great. All right, freeprssecrets.com. It's on June 23, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I've had amazing 5-star reviews about different events I've run. I give so much content. I don't hold anything back. As you've seen, I've just given you so much in this 45 minutes today. And I give even more in that masterclass and share even more insider secrets. And, the biggest thing really is just having the confidence to get out there. And sometimes you just need to work with people who have that faith in you. Maybe if you don't have that faith in yourself right now, to say, you can do this, and knowing how to do it also gives you a lot more confidence in getting yourself out there as well.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, look, thanks, Aldwyn. It's I've had one of your media consultations, and yes, it does take a few hours. You're digging deep to try and find the angles and whatever. And I found I've got lots of angles and sharp edges. So, so it is really well worthwhile doing it, because I discovered some things that I didn't even know. And I think, it's that, you can't see the wood for the trees. When you're in your business and you're doing things, you can't see the areas that other people see that, you're so good at, or, those angles, you just take it for granted. And that's one of the things that Aldwyn was really good at, is helping to draw some of those things out. So I would encourage you, if you've got the time, go along to to that free PR Secrets program. It's excellent. And if you get the opportunity to work with Aldwyn too, well worth it as well too. It's paid off for me sort of tenfold. So yeah, well worth it. So once again, thanks very much for sharing your wisdom for us tonight, Aldwyn.
Thank you. And we've got the giveaways. I can see Peter's putting his hand up there. Is it a quick question, Peter?
Quick question. Will the masterclass be recorded?
Yes, there is an option to purchase the VIP for $19.95. You can get the VIP option, which will then give you all the slides plus the recording of the whole 4 hours.
Thank you.
And it's an intense 4 hours. Like, there's only a 10-minute break in between. It's intense. There's a lot in it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Peter. Good question.
All right. Well, let's go over to the prize draw that we've got here. So as usual, we have our wheel of names, and everybody is in the wheel of names there. Remember, you have to be here, so don't duck out now, because you'll miss out if you win it. So also, and what is this for, Aldwyn?
So this is for a ticket to the free Publicity Secrets Masterclass worth $97. So we've got 2 of these to give away, a free ticket to the Masterclass on June 23, 9 till 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. So we're spinning this wheel twice, are we?
Yes, I've got
awesome.
2 to give away. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, let's run it through the first one. So drum roll, please. And the lucky winner is Victoria Smith.
Yay.
From Wellington, New Zealand.
Awesome. Congratulations, Victoria.
All right. If
So
you
just
Thanks so much.
yeah, just drop your email in the chat and we'll
Okay.
get in touch. Or you can connect with me on Facebook as well. Just PM me.
All right. And second time round. And our winner is on the edge, Michelle Pavel.
Yay, Michelle. Congratulations.
Are you here, Michelle? Is Michelle here? Just looking through all the names. I think Michelle has disappeared.
Oh.
That's bad luck for Michelle, unfortunately. So, but good luck for everyone here because we get to spin the wheel again. All right. Well, let's see who lucky number 3 is. And Colin Mackey.
Yay.
Oh, that'd be great to get your new program out there, Colin. Perfect timing. Excellent.
Yes, congratulations.
All right. All right. Well, that's our evening for tonight. That is Business Owners Smashing It Online for the halfway through the year, 1st of June. So the episode, if you want to catch it again, will be up on our YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you go to, if you just search for Smash Go YouTube channel, subscribe to that and you'll get a notification come out for when that's all ready. Tomorrow also we have, and the link for that will pop into chat as well. Tomorrow we have office hours, which is 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 10, 12 o'clock New Zealand time. And wherever else you are in the world, just work out your time zone. So on Zoom, we'll pop the link into chat. Now that's a no agenda, no speaker chat. Bring along a coffee, glass of wine, whatever you have at that time in the morning there. And really is an opportunity to have a chat about anything to do with tonight, anything online. If you've got a question, need a recommendation for apps and tools or anything like that, just come along. And it really is it's like a cafe chat, except it's on Zoom. So you're welcome to come along to that. We'll pop the link for that into chat. And next week, what have we got next week? Next week, actually, those that know Andrew Komenos, he is known as a results guy. We've got a slightly different format for you next week. Well, I think we have anyway. He's going to be here in the studio. Well, my office, whatever you call it. So we're going to be here on screen together and having a conversation about results, sales, our business packages. If you haven't heard Andy before, he is a loud Greek guy with a great sense of humor and really good value. So highly recommend that you come along to that there. Here's the other side of the equation to marketing. So I do a lot with marketing and online things. He's sales and conversions. So yeah, well worth coming on to listen to him. That's our evening for tonight. Again, let's give Aldwyn another big round of applause. Thank you very much. And look forward to seeing you either tomorrow or next week or somewhere online. Have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikcree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.